Ankeny High School, a bustling brick building nestled comfortably within the residential flatlands of Ankeny, Iowa, and home to over 1,300 students, 81% of which are white, according to U.S. News rankings. In total, the Ankeny Community School District houses 12,600 students in its program, according to the district website in 2023. Of these over 12,000 students, 77% are white. And though Ankeny has found an increasing amount of diversity in its student body, it can be difficult for students of color here to find a community.
Hello, my name is Ali Cabello. My name is actually pronounced Ali Cabello, but a lot of people can't pronounce it, so I normally just say Ali, and I am a senior at Ankeny High School. Both my parents are immigrants from Mexico, but my mom's dad is Japanese, whereas her mom is fully Hispanic, and so I'm 3/4 Hispanic and 1/4 Asian. I'm much more Hispanic than I am Asian. People look at me and they don't think I'm Hispanic. People think that just because I have really pale skin, they're like, oh, you're not Hispanic. You're just white. I talk about my culture and people are like, wait, you're Hispanic? And I'm like, yeah, I am Hispanic. Just because I don't look like really tan doesn't mean that I'm not Hispanic. Both my parents are immigrants and like their first languages are Spanish. Since I grew up in a household that speaks more than one language, I feel like it's more difficult for me to communicate because I was learning 2 different languages while I was growing up. The only thing I don't like about being here is I can't really relate to people because you don't see a whole lot of people of my ethnicity or people who live in Mexican households. I always felt left out whenever my mom packed me food because all the other kids would have like sandwiches, like peanut butter jelly sandwich, and like my mom would like pack me like onigiri or sushi, and I remember like getting looks from other kids and being like, ew, what is that? Oh, that smells disgusting, that looks disgusting. And like it, as a kid, it really like hurt me because it like made me feel like I didn't fit in, and I would be ashamed to eat like and bring food to lunch. I wouldn't even eat. Sometimes I would just throw away whatever my mom packed me because I was just so like embarrassed. Now it's not as much as a problem. Every once in a while, if I'm talking about something I enjoy eating, like people will be like, that sounds gross or that's disgusting. Like it's really humiliating because I feel like I can't talk about these things without being judged. I have family that lives in Des Moines, and I feel like Des Moines is a lot more diverse than Ankeny. My uncle clearly does not speak a lot of English, like Spanish is his first language, and like when he's trying to talk to other employees, like we just stare at him and they're like, I don't understand what you're saying because he has a really strong accent. Or just like strange looks from other people as well, because my family obviously like doesn't look like your stereotypical white family that lives in Ankeny, you know. But when I go to Des Moines, there's a lot of other people, like a lot of other families like my family, and so I don't really feel like I'm like left out, you know. And like when I go to my aunt's house in Des Moines, you know, all her other neighbors are also Hispanic, and so it just feels like at home to me.
My name's Rishi Danielle Monteverde, and I'm from the Philippines, and I'm a senior, and I go to Ankeny High School. I was born in the Philippines, Davao City, and I came here when I was 6 years old. I have a family of 6. A lot of my support comes from my family because moving here, I obviously can't move with my whole family, so it's just like my mom and dad, no like additional cousins or aunts, so it's definitely different to back in my homeland where everyone, like cousins, like grandparents, they're all there. There were many differences I could easily spot when I first came here. One of the big differences were climate, like going from like a very tropical, it's always hot, to suburb, like flat lands was a big cultural shift for me. The lunches I would bring, it's not your typical like lunchable. So it's definitely different, and that was definitely very shocking for like young kids at that time. The language difference was definitely something I had to overcome. In elementary, there was a lot of times where my dialect wasn't exactly perfect compared to the kids, and I would like get made fun of because of that as a kid. But throughout my years, like academically and just adapting to the culture here now, it's been a big journey. Since I'm a person that's like come from such different types of cultures, I like have a mindset that's more accepting because I personally feel like I've experienced more compared to people that have lived here their whole lives. And sometimes you encounter people that are a little bit more closed-minded because they haven't experienced bigger or like different cultures. It's just the way the community is set up, it gives it kind of like a protective bubble. It's a little bit isolating because sometimes I realize when I look around, there's not a lot of like diversity or like big welcoming communities of like different types of cultures. So at times I feel like I stick out, but I like to like more take it as a sense of pride that I'm different than like feeling outcasted, even though it does feel that way sometimes.
My name is Gabriel Brannon. I'm a sophomore and I'm an African American. I didn't used to go to school in Ankeny. I used to go to school in Des Moines, and it was a lot better there, which sounds kind of crazy because Des Moines is known for having a lot of crazy stuff. But over there, like at least at the school I went to, everything was like good. Like it was really enforced to be respectful to everybody you know. Bullying was not tolerated whatsoever. But in Ankeny, any kid will say anything and they're not gonna get in trouble. Nobody cares because it's just the culture here. You can say anything you want. I mean, you can't, you shouldn't, but people do, and it's a problem, I guess. This is a very privileged, and in general, it's mostly white people, a very privileged community. I think that really shows with certain people. Some people don't know how privileged they are. Like, if you can't tell who's privileged and who's not, then I'd say you probably are privileged. People say the N-word all the time. It's just something I hear now, I guess. And even if it's not directed at me, just in general, people will say it because they think they're being funny, but it's not. Like, people that say things don't really know what they're saying when they say them. It's insensitive. A lot of times people will say, like, oh, shut up, you're black, or like, your opinion doesn't matter. People will say, go back to the fields. Stuff about cotton, just all kinds of stereotypes. I used to laugh sometimes about the jokes because like I thought they were a little bit funny, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's not. Like, it's messed up that our culture has come to this point where people will say anything, and you should care that people say these things because they're still relevant and they're still bad. But nobody cares anymore because everybody's desensitized to it. People think they can say whatever they want because there's no punishment for anything. But those problems aren't going to get fixed if nobody pays attention to them, I guess. We need to learn to get along more. It doesn't matter who you're talking to or what their opinions are or what their ideology is, like however they think. Everybody just needs to get along and agree to disagree. We should do anything in our power to keep things going and keep things progressing in a positive way.
What can be done about this issue? How do people of color find each other in such a scarce community? And how can you peel back the obstinance of the affluent suburbs, which seem to be an increasing epidemic in the US? Everywhere around the US, kids just like these are struggling too. Struggling as individuals to assimilate into the majority. But for these kids, they survive. They grasp onto each other. They grit their teeth and bear with it. They escape. Maybe the answer could be something as simple as this: recognition. Recognition from the entire community of their struggles, of what it's like to be a student of color in Ankeny.